Growth hack your brand and then destroy anything that moves.
You need to grind hustle your platform manifest.
It's all about entropy, elegance, and finance. Blockchain.
Invest in real estate every day.
Invest in meal estate every morning.
You need to mind hack the mind shackles that are grabbing your mind. Entrepreneurs.
Entrepreneur. Teach a man to fish and he'll eat for a day. Eat the man who just fished and you'll eat for a lifetime.
Spartans!
Business Money Hacks.
Hello everybody, welcome to Business Money Hacks. My name is Dustin Taylor Hahn.
And I'm Bridge Stewart. And today we have an episode where we're going to be talking about something real, something that everybody can relate to, something that sort of appeals to a primal level of a lot of people. It's the concept of wiping the slate clean.
Bankruptcy. I've been through a lot of bankruptcy because when you go bankrupt in your business, you don't have to pay anyone anymore.
It's true. With business, I mean, it gets messy. Let me tell you. Starting a company, there's a lot of paperwork. There's a lot of people involved. There's a lot of cash, ins and outs and ins. Filthy people wandering the halls of your company. Everything's dirty. Everything's filthy. Everything around me is filthy. And that's why sometimes you need to wipe the slate clean. Bankruptcy wipes the financial slate clean.
Bankruptcy is just a great way to sort of just say, whoops, what? It's sort of like a question that you put on the end of your company. And at the end of people's paychecks. Sometimes I'll send out a paycheck, and instead of numbers, it's just a question mark.
Just a big question mark. I really like sending my employees a question mark check, and they'll confront me about it with an email or a phone call. I need money. I need money to live. And that's when I'll hang up and just be satisfied with myself knowing that the slate is clean. Maybe not for them, maybe not for their financial situation, but I know that my business situation, the slate's been cleaned.
Very interesting and important point that you're making, being absolved from that conversation. Business partners that you've worked with, you've sent out their dividends, and it's just a question mark that they get in the mail. And they're like, well, I thought I had all this stock in my company. Well, I thought so too.
Here's the thing. I mean, nobody can predict what will happen with a business. Nobody can predict what the economy is going to do. You know, sometimes businesses don't work out. And then you got to just declare bankruptcy and start again. Wipe it clean.
And there's nothing cleaner than a good cleansing. There's nothing cleaner than a good fire.
Oh, it's so important. I've started many businesses. I'd say maybe 5% of them have turned profitable. The rest have been sort of wiped off the slate. I've said it before on this podcast. I think the U.S. government is completely out of control. I think it's like a monster. The government is a monster.
What kind of monster would you say the U.S. government?
It's a slimy monster. It's a filthy monster. Just
it's a dirt monster.
Imagine like sort of like a worm that sort of is like covered in sewage and sort of slipping around. Imagine it sort of slipping around on the stock exchange, just this giant greasy worm.
You're trying to trade and do what you need to do, and there's just this worm that's sucking all of the numbers out of the Wall Street.
Yeah, this blood-sucking worm that just moves through the stock exchange. People are trying to like, hey, I'm trading stocks here, you know, because it's on the New York Stock Exchange. It's like, hey, I'm trading stocks here.
Oh,
and like,
hey, whoa, where's the stock?
Hey, whoa,
can you believe all these stocks are moving? One bond over here. Hey, come over here. I want to grab a bond over here.
Hey, I got some securities right here. That's
it's
how it is on the
a lot of
stock
people,
exchange.
when they want to start trading, like seriously, they move down to Wall Street. And since Wall Street's in lower Manhattan, you know, they do start to talk differently.
Yeah.
I knew a guy who came straight out of Seattle. He was living in Seattle for years, and he wanted to really get into it. He moved to Wall Street. Day later, oh, you guys got coffee?
Oh,
You
yeah.
know? What's going on over here? What's this, a bull market or a bear market? What are we doing today, folks?
Oh, yeah, it's
weird.
ridiculous. I mean, I met a man from Malaysia He didn't speak any English. He had a translator with him. Within 2 hours on the stock exchange, hey, what's going on over here? I got some bonds for you.
Whoa, can you believe what happened to the airline? Malaysia Airlines? Why are we not talking about that no more?
What's going on here? What's going on here with Malaysian Airlines? This was after 2 hours on the stock exchange.
Yeah.
You know, that's how it is. Hey, what's going on here? It's a worm going through here.
Oh, who let the worm in?
Who let this greasy worm in the stock exchange?
Well, the real problem is that everyone starts to turn into greasy worms themselves when you spend too much time.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I mean, it's quite a sight. Just imagine being on the stock exchange and like this worm, something out of Dune, comes slithering down the hallway, turns to you. It's like, hey, what's going on here? I'm a fucking worm. I'm selling securities.
Trying to sell securities here. Can I join in on a fun?
Hey, commodities up.
A lot of people go into business and then they decide that they feel like they should go into government and join those worms. And Bridge, you yourself have been doing that. I mean, how's the presidential campaign going?
Oh, that's done.
Because you were,
no, it's
all last year you've been running for president. So
yeah, that's done.
Okay.
I don't want to talk about it. I don't want
to. Yeah. So the worms on the New York Stock Exchange, it's terrible. It's the government trying to get their greedy, I would say, hands, but worms don't really have hands.
No,
do
they don't. I don't even know what they have. It's I don't know what a worm is made out of.
Flesh. Just
fleshy
a flesh
line.
Yeah, flesh line.
Flesh line. That's the flesh line. And I feel like that really sums up government's intervention into the stock market.
And the real problem with this flesh monster is that when you cut that monster in half.
Now you got two. But, even though the government is just a bunch of wormy individuals just worming their way into every facet of our life, bankruptcy is the beautiful thing about the United States.
It's the
you can
saving
do whatever
grace.
you want. You can do whatever you want. You can lose as much money as you want. As long as you declare bankruptcy at the end, you're absolved.
It's like when your dog poops in the living room and you get real angry and the dog gives you those puppy eyes. They just melt.
Oh, yeah.
The Internal Revenue Service, after you've gone bankrupt and you just give them those puppy eyes and they melt.
Please, I lost money. Oh, that's okay.
But I tried so hard. I employ so many people. I do. I have, and I will.
I will even more. I'll hire even more people on the next time I go around. Oh, okay. Go ahead. Keep making these unprofitable companies. It's fine.
One thing I like to do is also, hypothetically, a guy starts a company. It's a very small company. He's only got 5 people. It doesn't work out because, he spent it all. They get bailed out. Now he's like, oh, please, IRS man. Mr. IRS man, I promise I'll hire even more people. So then you hire 15 people. That's triple.
That's triple.
And but you give them less money in their salaries, and that goes bankrupt, and they go, oh,
you're going to need even more money this next time around. That's
right.
Okay. It's outrageous. Honestly, you can go ham with this. Like, you can go bananas when you're going, like, don't hold back when you start a company. Overspend is what I say. Like, you need a new coffee dispenser, buy the nicest coffee dispenser. Why wouldn't you want to treat yourself? You're a business owner. You're the hardest working person in the world. Why shouldn't you have the nicest things?
And you say that one thing they always love to hear is, I promise I'll make more jobs. I'll make more jobs. For everyone will have a job.
I'll make so many jobs. I'm the job creator. That's what you want, right? That's what you want. Of course I do.
Yeah, well, the big IRS worm. Of course I do.
Of course I do.
And he pats you on the head with his tail.
That's how you know you've done a good job, is when the worm starts caressing you with its tail and saying, that's fine, spend whatever you need the next time around.
Whatever you need, spend it next time around. You're a job creator after all.
Yeah, that's really, that's the perfect symbol of our system that we've set up. Just go absolutely crazy spending money.
Yeah.
And then just write it off at the end. You're absolved. You are cleansed of your sins.
They set this system up for us to do this when you're at a certain level like we are. You set up the appointment with the IRS, and they set you with this Internal Revenue Serviceman, and he's like behind that curtain. You're behind your curtain. You say, oh, forgive me, IRS man, for I have sinned. So with sort of a question mark yourself, I have sinned, and you could feel his nod, like, I see what this is. He's going to file for bankruptcy.
It's just like a beautiful thing, because it's like, you start this business, things get complicated, they get tough. I don't like it when things get tough. No. And when things get too tough and you're sometimes millions of dollars in debt, you just say, I can't do this anymore. I need a clean slate. I need a little bit of house cleaning. Bankruptcy.
Last time I went into the IRS and I went behind that curtain, and there's the IRS man on the other side of the curtain. He's like,
tell me your sins.
I just went, I got things to do. Bankruptcy. Oh, and he goes, oh. Okay.
Yeah. It's not, tell me your sins. Well, I've got about 11 million in the red on this thing. I have some legal troubles, heavy legal troubles going on. I can't salvage this husk, this husk that is my business. Bankruptcy.
And he says, I'll take your husk and I'll use it.
And I'll use it. I'll use your husk.
The big worm IRS man in his cathedral saying, I'll use your husk.
Give me your husk. Give me your husk is all I want.
The government is just one big worm that's just taking all of our husks. Takes all of the wealthy elite's husks, and I don't know what they use it for.
Yeah, I have no idea what they do with my dead businesses that I keep handing to them. I've given them so many. I just keep handing them over, and it just, these people are just, give me your husk.
Something I like to do also is, I'll tell everyone that my company has gone bankrupt, but actually it hasn't gone bankrupt. This is like another sort of trick here, and I just make a shell company under a different name in another country, and I put all the money in there.
The old money shuffle. I enjoy doing that. It's just sometimes you gotta, it's like shuffling the deck, it's like, it's getting a little stale, time to shuffle the money around. And then people are like, where did the money go that we gave you? Well, it got shuffled.
Yeah, you just throw all 52 cards in the air, and you go, I don't know.
And then you're saying, this is already bankrupt. How dare you question me on this bankruptcy? That's impolite to bring up bankruptcy. So
ending a business is kind of like the Uno. You're playing Uno. It's kind of like the reverse card. Yeah. Oh, excuse me, you lost all of your money. You have 100 or so people working for you. What happened to the pension fund? Where's the pension fund? Reverse.
Bankruptcy. Sorry, I can't pay. I can't hear you. And then
I like that you added sorry into it too.
Sorry, shoots and ladders. I can't hear you. Candyland is what I'll scream at people on the phone.
Just screaming Candyland on the phone, they know exactly what that means. Bridge has gone bankrupt again. He's yelling Candyland.
Yeah, hungry hippos. I'm eating.
My favorite part of going bankrupt, the best part of going bankrupt is the shrimp. Oh, that going away shrimp. Oh. The big party after everything's gone.
Oh yeah, a bankruptcy party is the best party. Just you've got all the remainder of the money. And since you've already declared bankruptcy, you got to spend that money, so you throw a bash. And it's kind of a tradition, you drink eggnog at Christmas, you put pumpkins out at Halloween, you eat shrimp during a bankruptcy party. Oh,
that's the tastiest
stuff. The finest shrimp.
One thing I've done so many times before is that during the Christmas party, everyone's expecting bonuses, but really, the company has gone bankrupt. But you sort of slip in a lot of shrimp at that Christmas party, and they know, the company's going under.
Uh-oh, no presents for my kids this year. There's shrimp at this Christmas party. And I like having somebody serving that shrimp with like sort of a knowing grin on their face, just walking around the party. It's like, care for a little shrimp? And then people start like talking at the party. There's shrimp being served. There's shrimp being served. Oh no. Are we going bankrupt?
I've worked here for so long.
I got a mortgage. Sorry. We got a shrimp party going on, and you know what that means.
And you sort of tell the waiters, when you hand out the shrimp, give everyone a knowing look, like...
And a wink.
And a
wink at them when you hand them that piece of shrimp.
Like more shrimp? And that basically means you're going to have to find...
Sir?
You should find another position somewhere.
Sir, would you like some more shrimp? That's when you know you're in trouble. When a waiter walks up to you at a party and says, care for a little more shrimp, sir?
Yeah, that's when you know. Probably shouldn't have had that second kid.
Probably shouldn't have had that second kid, but you might as well have that second shrimp.
I mean, that's what I did with my family. Talking about wiping the slate clean. That's what I did. You know, what I did with my family, wipe it clean. You know, there's nothing like a good clean family.
Yeah.
And a fresh son.
Yeah, it's tough to have a clean family. Usually families are pretty dirty. Like babies and stuff. I mean, they get pretty dirty. They aren't clean.
I like a good fresh wife, you know, just wipe it clean and start over.
Yeah, I don't like it when the wives get too dirty. And when I say dirty, I kind of use that interchangeably with like old. Yeah. Like it just like, oh, you've gotten dirty over the years. Yeah, it's just personal relationships. I mean, they just get exhausting after a while. And I associate sort of interacting with somebody for too long as just, that relationship's gotten dirty. It's gotten filthy.
Because you sort of wiped your own self on them.
Yeah.
And what you want to use, the people are sponges for your own dirt.
Yeah.
You spend so much time with someone, I think is what you're trying to say, is that you want to get that dirt off of you onto them, and then you want to throw that sponge away.
Yeah, exactly. It's like, here, let me glob onto this person for a month, get real close with them, really connect with them, really get to know them, and then, hightail it right out of there. And they're like, what happened? And then you're, bankruptcy.
Bankruptcy, Candyland.
You're dirty now. You're dirty. You're filthy.
Put it on them. But it's, one thing that's really hard, and I've always been struggling with this. I don't know about you, but it's easy to clean your outside because you could just shave everything down. But it's really hard to clean the inside.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's pretty hard to clean the outside, too. I mean, there's, honestly, I scrub and it just never seems to get clean.
Yeah, I have noticed that. I mean, your face is very red. I mean, even right now, you're scrubbing your head with those bristles,
Yeah. I mean, I've sort of taken this new thing. It's sort of like this piece of volcanic rock that I have in my shower, and I'll just sort of try and scrape that over my whole body, just try and get all the germs off. It's just, there's too many germs. You can't get rid of them all. It's terrible that you can't get rid of all the germs. I hate the fact that you can't get rid of all the germs.
And the hard part is you can't see the germs, so you can only assume that there's a lot more of them.
Yeah, so. I mean, there's days where I feel like I do see the germs, and I do not like it at all. And I try and get them off, but they keep coming back. It's difficult. It's difficult interacting with people. It's also, like an emotional level where it's like, oh God, they're dirty, they're emotionally dirty, they're personally dirty. But it's also like, I'm starting to see the germs on them. They're germ people.
See, I try not to do business with folks who look physically filthy.
That's the problem, though. You can never tell. Sometimes people that look clean have the most germs. I can tell. I look closely, and I make sure that I don't deal with germ people. You
don't shake hands. I know that. Or you stop shaking hands.
Absolutely not.
I think I agree with you. At this point, I don't want to touch anybody. See, the worms, they have it right. They cover themselves.
Worms are the cleanest animal.
Earthworms.
Earthworms, the cleanest of animals. God, I really wish I had, like, I secreted, like, sort of a slime from my body. I feel like that gets rid of the germs. You're constantly cleaning yourself like a worm. And just this idea, this image of me underground just cleaning myself I wish I could be that.
Have you ever seen a worm tongue?
I've never seen a worm's tongue.
A worm's tongue is 3/4 the size of the worm itself.
Oh my God.
So it can wrap itself around.
Yeah, it's clean underground. It's when you start going above surface, that's where the germs come from.
The skies.
Everybody know the germs come from the sky. They pour down. Sometimes I leave my house and just look up and just dread being in the sunlight because I know the germs are coming down.
How has your eating been recently?
Yeah, I've started purchasing just meat from this company. They wrap it in plastic and send it to you, so I know it's clean because it's wrapped in airtight plastic. So my meals are consisting of me receiving a box in the mail and opening up, and it's meat in a package, and I'll just eat the meat. It's
with the plastic on it, and then you kind of regurgitate the plastic?
Yeah, it's sort of that kind of a process. Just plastic in, plastic out is what they call it.
So that the meat comes out the same way it comes in.
Yeah, exactly. Digest through the plastic, let the meat sort of enter your digestive system, and then proceed to rid yourself of the plastic by vomiting it back up.
It's kind of like a pill.
Yeah.
You know?
Except if you had to vomit up the pill capsule every time you took the pill.
Well, I know that cleaning your insides, speaking of which, is kind of a difficult thing to do. I mean, the kids used to eat Tide Pods. I think that was the idea.
Yeah, I completely supported the Tide Pod challenge. It was more like the Get Clean challenge. Just clean the insides out.
Yeah.
We should have seen more of that on social media, as people eating Tide Pods. I guess they aren't that healthy, though, is the problem.
Yeah, the problem is that most of it is poison.
Well, I mean, you do have to ask yourself, are you willing to poison yourself to get clean?
And that is a good question to ask, and especially in business. If you're trying to wipe your slate clean, there's a lot of poisonous people out there that'll say, "No, I want to go bankrupt now." You know,
yeah.
They try to glob onto your bankruptcy. They try to join in on your. I guess at this point, I'm just saying excuses that you give to the IRS.
Yeah, and they are excuses. I mean, some of them are pretty bad excuses. It's
Yeah.
like, sorry, I just spent way too much money and didn't really have a product. Oh, that's okay. It's fine. It's fine. It's okay as long as you create another business, even bigger. And I'll be like, oh, I will. I will.
What were we saying? We were saying people trying to glob onto your bankruptcy. Trying to join in. Let's say that their company is kind of not profitable, but not quite bankrupt. They'll say, what Bridge did.
Yeah.
I want to do what Bridge did. I don't want to work anymore. It's just too hard. I don't want to do this anymore.
I'm bankrupt too. Me too. I'm bankrupt. It's like, no, you're not. Not like me. You ain't bankrupt like me. Trust me. I've done some things to earn this bankruptcy. You need to do some things first.
The best part about after that meeting you have with the IRS and they say, I absolve you of your sins. You start another business. There's one more step that you have to take before you start the business, and that's where they bring the man in the hood to your home. He's got that black cloak.
Yeah.
He comes into your home and he points at you with his very bony fingers and he says, Bridge Stewart, you filed for bankruptcy.
It's kind of a tradition. It's sort of like a American original tradition, like just having the man in the cloak. It's sort of like Midsummer or something in Sweden. Our equivalent of Midsummer is during bankruptcy, a man in a cloak shows up to your house and sort of does a little ritual, and you eat shrimp.
Yeah, he brings over a big plate of shrimp.
He brings over his shrimp platter and his scythe. And you finish up your bankruptcy.
You're supposed to change your name, but nobody actually does that.
Yeah, I mean, that's the old way back in the day.
It's a cleansing. Yeah. It's like a rebirth sort of thing.
Yeah, and then you sign a couple documents, declare bankruptcy, and you start again.
Yes, the man who I assume works for the IRS too.
That's debatable. He has to, right? I mean, how else would he know to show up to your house?
This 8-foot tall man knocks on the door in his black cloak with a bowl of shrimp and a document that says...
And this is Chapter 11 bankruptcy.
What chapter are you on at this point?
I think I'm on Chapter 35 at this point. It takes a lot to get... Here's the thing. Chapter 11, I mean, yeah, everybody goes through that, right?
Bridge, maybe we should explain what Chapter 11 is.
Yeah, so Chapter 11 is reorganization. So it's like, oh, I've spent too much money. I didn't do anything right.
I file for Chapter 11. This is the standard.
This is boilerplate.
This is Boy Scouts,
This is Cub Scouts.
Yeah.
If Chapter 11 is like Cub Scouts, then Chapter 30 is like elite Delta Force assassin.
Oh, yeah.
What's really hard is getting through the like mid-20s. Those are some tough chapters. You've got to do some things that most people aren't capable of doing or capable morally of doing. You've got to do some terrible things in the Chapter 20s. But once you pass that, I mean, it's kind of smooth sailing. You can really... I could probably kill somebody and say, bankruptcy.
So you say, I file for Chapter 11, on my first business. Obviously, I file for Chapter 11 bankruptcy. By the time I was, I'd say 22, I was at Chapter 14.
Yeah.
Pretty good. And it's where they say, oh, why didn't you pay any of your employees? You don't even have a product.
You don't have Chapter 14, you don't have a product, you don't have employees, a service, you don't even like have a building, you don't have like a web page. Is this even a business? And if you can pull that off, then you start really moving up the chapters.
But you said, Bridge, what chapter are you on again? You said
35.
So you've been through the ringer.
I've eaten a lot of shrimp. And it's tough because I find shrimp absolutely disgusting. But God knows I've probably eaten about a ton in my life.
When that worm gives you shrimp,
it's an old saying in the financial industry is when the worm gives you shrimp, eat like a glutton.
When the worm gives you shrimp, eat.
When the worm gives you shrimp, you feast.
I mean, that's half the reason why America tried to stray away from England, right? They filed for bankruptcy. All of the colonies said, we can't pay anymore.
We can't pay anymore. We'll just file for bankruptcy. And then Britain was like, this is... you really messed up here.
Yeah.
I am not going to approve this bankruptcy. And then America was like, what? And literally started killing people. So it's really important that governments just to let people file bankruptcy for anything.
It's part of the American dream. I mean, aside from cleansing yourself from your family.
Yeah, I mean, you see those old stories of like immigrants about to move to the United States in the 30s and the 20s, like from Russia, just like, I hope to move to the U.S. so I can someday file for bankruptcy. I heard the streets... are paved with Chapter 11 bankruptcies.
The rivers of shrimp.
America, where there's rivers of shrimp and giant worms. Giant shrimp and worms to your heart's delight. And a man in a cloak who shows up at your home.
So you're filing for Chapter 35 bankruptcy. I assume you're on to 36 because you're no longer running for president, and there was a company connected to the campaign.
Yeah, I mean, I've lost track. I'm somewhere in the mid to late 30s. Like, I've got a bunch of bankruptcies going on. I let the lawyer deal with most of that stuff.
And your lawyer, man, he looks like he looks malnourished.
He has a 1,000-yard stare.
There's nothing left of him. He's got those dead eyes. It's just bones and skin at this point.
Yeah, they did like a psychological test where it's like they compared the state and like PTSD of bankruptcy lawyers and people that survived the Kosovo War. And apparently the bankruptcy lawyers are way worse off. They are doing very badly.
Like mustard gas in World War I. Just... And then when he meets the man in the IRS, it feels like a scene out of the Christmas Carol.
The Christmas Carol, yeah.
Yeah, like he's got chains on his... My bones.
My bones. Yeah, I mean, bankruptcy lawyers have the highest mortality rate of any profession in the United States. You know, you would think it would be like a commercial fishing boat or like a lumberjack or something. No, it's bankruptcy lawyers. They have heart attacks at a staggering rate.
And the hard part is about being a bankruptcy lawyer, God bless them, is that their children must be bankruptcy lawyers as well.
God, I'd hate to be born into one of the infamous bankruptcy legal families. That's a tough life.
You got this 8-year-old kid who looks over 70. You know, he's got that wrinkled skin, and
It's sort of like being in like the middle of a plague or something when you go into their offices, because it's just like, oh yes, Samuel died 4 days ago. We've gone a week before without a death, but that's our longest stretch, is a 1 week without a death.
And there's just not enough shrimp to keep that family going.
There's not enough shrimp in the sea to make the bankruptcy lawyers survive this.
I would suggest when you want to start your first business, kids, already assume that you're going to go bankrupt.
It will go bankrupt.
It will.
I would say,
With children who's trying to start their lemonade stand, it's very important for you to tell them ahead of time, you're going to fail.
You will fail, and I'll make sure you go bankrupt, is what I say to every kid at a lemonade stand.
You've done it. We've been on there. You know, we went out for a little road trip, and you've made me stop in the suburbs.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
It's sort of a Sunday tradition for me. Some people take their motorcycle out for a Sunday drive. I get in my car, drive out to the suburbs, and look for kids and tell them they're going to go bankrupt. It's sort of just like how I unwind on a Sunday. So overall, I mean, it's so important to just constantly be wiping the slate clean. When things get a little bit dirty, you got to clean it off at all costs.
And you got to scrub hard, too. If you're trying to file for bankruptcy and that business just won't die.
Sometimes it doesn't die.
There are a lot of hard workers out there, and you just want the goddamn business to die, and these people
to stop the lawsuits, because people will sue you. It's like, wait, you didn't pay me for a bunch of time. It's like, speed up this bankruptcy so I don't need to pay them. Like, that's it. It helps with that.
Also, a mental bankruptcy is what I have so many thoughts in my head. I have XYZ to do today. I gotta wake up, and you start to realize all the terrible things that you need to finish. It does get overwhelming sometimes. Sometimes you just wish you could sort of stick something in your ear and hope that some kind of sonic blast could just wipe all that out.
Yeah, sometimes you just need to declare a bankruptcy day. You know, you just wake up and you're tired and, you know, you've got a lot on your mind. You're like, today's a bankruptcy day. I'm calling it. It's a bankrupt day.
Oh, I hate this. I hate this world we live in. Bankruptcy day. I'm declaring bankruptcy today. And then you can go back to sleep and you don't have to feel bad about it.
Yeah, I mean, mentally, morally too, you know, like sometimes you do something really bad, and you're like, what kind of a man am I? What am I? Who am I? What do I stand for? Do I stand for nothing? I'm gonna have to declare bankruptcy on what I just did.
My life is a black hole. Why would I do that? I just left my loving family, my wonderful daughter and son. What am I doing out here on a beach?
I've hurt them so bad.
And there doesn't seem to be anything left. I declare bankruptcy.
And then you wake up refreshed, ready to do it again.
All of those problems just seem to go away.
Yeah, it's great. It's because you can sort of just get away and do whatever you want and just be safe in the assurance that you can always declare bankruptcy, no matter how awful.
Be safe in the assurance that 8-foot-tall man will come a-knocking, absolve you of your sins, give you that bowl of shrimp, and say, would you like to change your name? Yes, I would.
Yes, I would. And I will take one more shrimp for the road. Anyway, I hope that helps our listeners understand the complexities of bankruptcy.
I think it's something that everybody has to go through, and if you look at it the right way, it's something that you want to go through. It's
kind of fun.
It is.
In a lot of ways. It's sort of like you kind of just get like a thrill out of it.
Thank you so much for listening to Business Money Hacks. It's sort of the start of a new series that we want to do called The Secret to Success. So I think every once in a while we want to have some episodes where we just really, this is one secret to success. We have plenty more.
Yeah, and I mean, this has been inspiring for me too. I mean, I might declare few more bankruptcies this month. I mean, I'm sort of, just having fun with this. So, yeah. But thank you for listening. I'm Bridge Stewart.
I'm Dustin Taylor Hahn. Be sure to like and subscribe, and send some episodes to your friends. We're trying to get this thing rolling, even bigger than it is already.